Thank you, Peter, and I'm delighted to be here this afternoon. I've just got off an aeroplane at Stansted, having come back from Trier in Germany, where I was trying to explain the decision that the British public took about a fortnight ago to a partner that we've had for 25 years. It was a very interesting evening last night. I'm going to talk to you today really about the Adnams story, from environmental sustainability to ecosystem, and I'm very grateful for a piece of work that Geraldine Brennan, who's a member of the centre here, did for us as part of her PhD thesis. I can talk to you about our distribution centre that, when it was implemented in 2006, was one of the most environmentally friendly buildings in Europe. I can talk to you about our brewery, which only takes 3 pints of water to make a pint of beer, where the industry average is about 8 pints, and the worst offenders use 15 pints of water. I can talk to you that we recover our food waste from our pubs and our hotels, and we put that back into anaerobic digestion, and we create enough biomethane, and we inject that into the grid at the moment to fuel about 300 homes around our local area. But ultimately, we're going to run our commercial vehicle fleet on that. I can talk about those things, and that could be a theme of my presentation. But today, really, I think it's about talking about the culture that you need to create in an organization, or that we've felt that you need to create. I wouldn't be arrogant enough to stand here and say we get it right every day. We're absolutely not perfect, and we make mistakes every day, but I hope we get a few more things right than we do wrong. So I want to talk to you a bit about our organization, which has its roots in a family-run business formed in 1872, 144 years ago. So it's been around a bit. It's seen one or two turbulent times in all of that period. Bring us bang up to date, really, in that we needed to reinvent ourselves around the sort of turn of the century. A clear purpose about taking great drinks to our customers in an innovative way, and talking about some embedded social and environmental values that we started following this route back in 1999-2000. It's not the only way to run a business. It's unusual, and I wouldn't say, but it isn't a way of running a business, and it's something that we found that's endured for us. So it's really a synthesis of 4 fields, really. These social and environmental values are vitally important, and they're used as a rallying point for our staff. We invest significantly in our leadership teams. We look over the wall to other industries, other sectors, to learn from them. And I'll talk more about how we bring leadership values to life. We take a very, very broad view of stakeholders. I can tell you that we got planning permission for an anaerobic digester on the site of our distribution centre in an area of outstanding natural beauty, with the thought of bringing tons of food waste back. We got not one objection, and we got the planning permission approved in about 9 weeks. So that's about being a good corporate citizen, involving the local community in that decision-making process, and involving them in what was going to happen in their vicinity. And finally, we talk about all of these things and try and communicate these things through a brand, the Adnams brand, which has a portfolio of products underneath it. So a little background to us. We're based in a place called Southwold, Suffolk. Southwold is about as far east as you can get in the UK without getting your feet wet. Actually, the most easterly point is Ness Point in Lowestoft. We're about 10 miles south of there, but we are overlooking the sea. Formed in 1872 by George and Ernest Adnams, the middle brothers of an already brewing family, came out from Berkshire and arrived in Southwold and bought the brewery, and then consolidated a number of other businesses. We're a mid-sized business. We employ about 450 people. That fluctuates a bit. Turnover 65 million. I'd like to think we reinvented ourselves around 1999, 2000. When you think of a regional brewer, you probably think of tweed jackets, leather arm patches, cobwebs in the boardroom. We had those kind of things. We've sort of dusted ourselves off a bit. We're a brewer, and that is the thing that pays the mortgage. But in 2010, part of our innovation strategy was to attach a distillery to the side of our brewery, and we've ridden a wave of the renaissance, particularly in gin. And we had some competence in making alcohol and customers who were willing to buy alcohol from us. We have this values-based business model that has these social and environmental values at our heart. And we're a regional brand. We sell most of our products. If you were to draw a line across from the Wash to Birmingham and drop it down to the middle of the south coast, that southeast corner is where most of our products are sold. But our products are widely available throughout the UK, and we have a developing international business as well. So why did we have to change? Well, back in the day, we were very top-down. Most decisions were taken in the boardroom, whether someone could have a new pencil or not. Very hierarchical, very, very hierarchical, very sort of tiers of management between the people who were really doing the work and the people who thought they were making the decisions. Many functional barons, so very, very much organized in stovepipe hierarchies. And the distribution manager didn't talk to the brewer, who actually didn't talk to the sales manager, and we didn't even have something called marketing, and sustainability was way out of scope at that time. Concerned with management, so concerned with dotting the I's and crossing the T's, doing the details right. And I'm not belittling management, it's really, really important, but it needs to be balanced with leadership. There was a lack of confidence in the business. There was a conversation that we were having, whether we should sell the business, whether we should expand it, whether we should shrink it down to about 100 pubs that it owned at that time. It would be highly profitable and employ a few people, or whether we actually go for it. And at that time, the business was stagnating, and shareholder value was being destroyed. And I think the narrow focus on shareholder value is an important distinction that I'd like to make in this part of my talk. What we've tried to do since 2000 is move to a meritocracy. So in April last year, we appointed, we've got a balanced board of male-female. As our Chief Operating Officer, we appointed Karen Hester. She'll be speaking tonight at a Business Awards ceremony in Suffolk. Karen joined us in 1990 as a part-time office cleaner, and she has progressed through our organisation to be our Chief Operating Officer. So that's part of recognising talent, and that's part of business sustainability as much as anything else. We look to embed these values, very much concerned with leadership, which is doing the right things as distinct from doing things right. Our heart is as a manufacturing organisation, and nothing more that manufacturing organisations like is to make products and push them onto the market. Whether the market wants them or not is a very different matter, but we switched that around and moved to a market orientation. We absolutely abolished this whole notion of functional barons and moved to laying the organisation on its side, working from raw material inputs at one end through to customers on the other, and team working across that, and a broader measure of stakeholder value being delivered. So our approach to values, what are they? Well, first and foremost, like I am this afternoon, our managers are always on stage. So it's not what comes out of the mouth, the espoused values, it's how people behave around here, the artifacts that they surround themselves with. These are the important things, because those are the cues that members of staff pick up on. It's not a rejection of shareholder value. It's not motherhood and apple pie. It's an interpretation of long-term stakeholder value, long-term value creation. We make links between our business decisions and our values. So when When we laid our distribution centre down in 2005 and 6 and brought it online, it was about 20 to 25% more expensive than if we were to buy a normal crinkly tin shed that you see sitting by the side of every motorway. We got some hassle about that from activist shareholders that we had on our register at the time because we've got a public listing, but we stood our ground on that and we've been proved right. And we make sure that our managers walk the walk and leadership values being valued in our organisation, but also managerial competence. You know, you've got to be able to do the job. It's not just about having the right values. You've got to be a competent manager. Our approach to leadership, and it's all about behaviours, and we look for people who can build trust, and there hasn't been a lot of that around in the business world lately. The Adnams Business Barometer in 2014 saw trust in business at its lowest levels. A commitment to the organisation, a commitment to the values that we espouse, the ability to build self-esteem in others rather than let the ego get in the way. That's what we're looking for in our leaders. And we're looking for people who can create this vision of the future for their followers. And the shorthand that we use in the organisation on a daily basis and amongst the leadership team is leaders lead from their values and their beliefs. And actually, it's our job to get ordinary people to do extraordinary things. Our approach to stakeholders, and this is a beach just outside the brewery, and twice a year we adopt a kilometre-long stretch, and we get our staff and their families and some shareholders and other stakeholders, and we clean the beach before the tourists arrive in the summer, and we clean up after them at the end of the summer, and we buy them a pint of beer and fish and chips down the local pub. But that's part of having a wide definition of the people that we interact with. Because even if they're a non-drinker but a neighbour or a critic of the business, those are people who have an interest in our business, and we need to be open to them, not pushing them away. We look to have as much transparency as we can. So with our shareholders, we are a PLC, so we have to lift the corporate petticoat twice a year, at the full year and at the half year, and we tell them how we've got on. At punctuation points in between that, what we try to do is invite our shareholders in for shareholder open days. We allow them to walk around the business. We show them the assets that we've bought with their money on their behalf, and we hand them over to our staff. So the chairman and I meet them, have a cup of coffee with them, and then send them on their way. And they can ask our staff what it's really like around here. They can kick the tires on the organisation. They can test the culture of the organisation. So that dialogue is vitally important. And recognising that we need to create value for everybody in that stakeholder mix, not just the narrow definition of shareholders. And I think it's come to pass, hasn't it, the Milton Friedman doctrine of the business of business is business. Actually, I think that's incomplete, and business needs to rethink some of that. So these values, what are they about? Well, they're about a pride and passion in place, this sense of place, a pride and passion in what we do. That comes through in our products, we hope, that comes through in our people. We're distinctive and individual, so we're prepared to take risks. So Copperhouse Gin, East Coast Vodka. East Coast Vodka won the best vodka in the world, the first time that vodka product has won that prize outside of Finland, France and Russia, which was an amazing feat for that product. Copperhouse Gin followed with the same award the following year. We're involving of people, we're fun, we believe in equality, and what set of values that an organisation says we believe in poor quality. And we believe in the sociability of our products. In terms of our values, moreover, we're looking to get product into people's hand. We're looking to tell our sustainability story. We're looking to engage with our consumers rather than just doing broadcast advertising that we can do, put up poster sites, do a TV advert. We've done all those. What we want to do is that dialogue. That's the important thing that we're aiming to achieve here. The elephant in the room for us on this journey is that we make booze for a living, and that helps the conversation go along nicely. It helps conviviality. If it's overused, it creates both personal harms and it creates social harms. So we've taken that seriously. We work with local schools and produce something called Alco cards. These have got words of the street. I don't recognize them, bladdered, smashed, tanked. But on the other side, it's got serious harm reduction messages. We worked with and I chaired for 7 years an alcohol harm reduction charity. We blur our marketing and say that you can have too much of a good thing. We take this issue head on, because what we want is more people drinking Adnams, not any one individual drinking more Adnams, if you know what I mean. Bringing things to life in terms of leadership. So we think it's important that leaders know themselves first, so we make extensive use of development centres and 360-degree feedback, and those feed into personal development plans. Myself and my colleagues who sit in the boardroom, we're all rated on our adherence to values, listening, approachability, and our encouragement of new ideas, and we are named personally in our 3 or 4 year staff opinion survey that we have. The last one that we had, 2012, we're just about to get our new results, but in the last one, 91% of our staff said they were proud or very proud to work for us. 83% said they were motivated or extremely motivated. 94% were clear about what is expected of them, and 88% felt the senior team demonstrated the company values. We're trying to put the Western mantra of management on one side, which is often about catching people doing things wrong and then telling them off about it. What we're trying to do is catch people doing things right and give them a pat on the back. Bringing things to life for the brand. So there's our giant cow stomach, which is our anaerobic digester, which we put on beer mats and like to tell people about it. You know, food goes in one end and biomethane comes out, methane gas comes out the other. But that passion, that individuality and the responsibility comes through. And what we're trying to do for our customers is create that, that's better moment. And our customers have got engaged in the sustainability story. It's not the first on their list of buying criteria, but all things being equal, they lean towards us. And finally, there are some reasons to be cheerful. Well, this was some work done by Nielsen, who are our industry watcher, as long ago as 2009. And this was just as the recession was hitting. Health and well-being, it's quite difficult for us as a booze manufacturer to say that we're in the health and well-being business, although we might help people to relax a little bit. Indulgence and pleasure, although we've got a photo of a sad bloke on his own, but indulgence and pleasure, we hope our beers enable people to indulge themselves a bit. Convenience and practicality, we've clearly changed our business, and one of the things that our spirits business and our move into retail has done has moved the brand from being an overtly masculine brand into something that is gender neutral, and we're in our shops now, 58% of the consumers who go into our shops are high spending females. I don't need to tell the blokes in the room, the people who make all the decisions around here. And it's important if you've got an ethical stance. And they say brands that can deliver on at least 2 of these are more likely to succeed. We think that's the case because our 21st century operating issues, and these have been true, there is a decline in per capita consumption of alcohol. You wouldn't believe that if you read the Daily Mail or the Daily Express, but there is. We're drinking less alcohol. There's also a switch from the on-trade, so drinking in pubs and bars, to actually consuming at home. That has all sorts of issues for us as a business. So we're dealing with 5 or 6 customers rather than thousands of customers. So somebody like Mike Barry that you heard of this morning has considerable leverage when he comes and talks to us. It's a classic mature market. It's dominated by giants. The merger of AB InBev and SAB Miller will create an organization that makes and sells 3 in every 10 pints in the world. So that is happening. But it's also fragmenting. There's a microbrewer on every corner. There are cost pressures, and you could say the future for regional brewers looks bleak. So how are we doing? Well, at the half year, our beer sales, again, will be up. We've continued all through the recessionary period and on to continue to deliver profits and dividends to our shareholders, although times are uncertain, and I can't, say how I feel about Brexit. We've continued to invest in infrastructure and the brand and in our people, and we're quietly confident about the future. We were awarded the Queen's Award for Enterprise Sustainable Development in 2006. We won it again in 2012. We're one of the coolest brands, allegedly, in the UK. We've won a load of product awards. Probably most I'm proud of, though, is Karen Hester, the lady who I said joined us as a part-time office cleaner. In 2013, she was the CBI and Lloyds Bank first woman of the year, first businesswoman of the year. So that's a good story. What does all this do? And I think what it does, it enables us to engage people. It enables us to be adaptive. It enables us to change very, very quickly. And in the market in which we operate, change is the name of the game. So we can move into sustainability. We can do new product. We can do innovation. We can do these things because, and we're not the biggest, are we? It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Thank you.